What's coming up on today's show? The 2025 World Para Swimming Championships came to a close last weekend, and Canada racked up the medals. One of those medalists, Danielle Dorris, joins the show to chat about her time in Singapore. You won't want to miss it. Let's get started.
Welcome to Parasport Nation with Alex Smythe and Nathan Clement.
Hi, everyone. This is Nathan Clement. And as you can tell, I'm not Alex Smythe. Alex is right now filming Love Island, so he's going to be away for the next little while, taking care of that important production. And have no fear, I've not been given the keys to the kingdom unsupervised. Joining me today is our producer, Jeff Ryman. Now, Jeff, your Bills are doing quite well, and the Leafs are expecting a great season. How is the optimism level in early October?
Not good. I've been burned before by both of those teams. The Bills look decent. As of this recording, they're 4-0 to start the year, so can't really complain too much there. The Leafs, I don't really want to talk about them. They seem to hurt me every time it comes playoff time, so we'll have to wait and see how things go. I mean, every single year it's the same thing. They've got a good team. They make the playoffs. They're, in the top 3 in the Eastern Conference, usually on a yearly basis, and just never pans out. Every year it's, they look different. They added this person. They got rid of this person. They're goaltending. They're It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter until the playoffs, and they just can't get it done. So until they can at least advance to the third round, I'll always be highly optimistic what they can do throughout the entire year, more so in the playoffs. How about your Vancouver Canucks? How are you feeling heading into this season as a Canucks fan?
It's a little nerve-wracking. Obviously, Quinn Hughes is the topic of conversation, if he's going to stay, if he's going to walk in the years to come. But I think for us both, Alex Smythe being an Ottawa Senators fan, we're going to have to do throughout the year mental health checks on everyone. I think that's the safest thing that we can do is support, have a little walkthrough, have a little conversation. But somewhere where we do not need that kind of check-in is how Canada's swimming team just did in Singapore, winning 12 medals, ton of national records, and a ton of personal bests. Absolutely amazing performance over in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, it was truly remarkable, Nathan. Like you mentioned, 12 medals, 1 world record by our guest today, Danielle. A couple of, at least one name that really sticks out to me, Nathan, and I really want to get her on the show, and I tried, and she's just super busy, and rightfully so, is Mary Gibb. She burst onto the scene. She's one of the younger swimmers on that national team. I think she's still a teenager, 18, 19 years old and around there. And she racked up medals and just burst onto the scene in her first world. So that was pretty cool to witness over the last week or so. But Nathan, I have a couple of questions for you because obviously you have the history in the background of a swimmer, but all those medals and a world record, and I think there was 28 personal bests in there. Can you speak to the growth of the national swim team in, say, the last decade or so since you've been a part of the program and have left?
The big thing I'm going to say is not going to drop any spoilers between my conversation with Danielle Dorris as we do dive into the progress of the national team, but it's amazing to see as a lot of different programs go through. You go through the peak years, you go through the rebuilding years, and kind of when I joined with a big transition of athletes coming in where you have athletes like Alec Elliott, you had Sabrina Duchenne, who just recently retired and had an absolutely amazing career, but also athletes coming in like Danielle Dorris. And with the team, you have different influxes coming in every quadrennial or triennial. And just to see the success that Mary Gibb's having, Seb's still having, Jagdiv Gill, and so many other swimmers. It's really just phenomenal just to see the progression, just see the growth, see the evolution as Swimming Canada has definitely had their ups and their lows during that time. And that's something we don't need to fully dive into and give that autopsy at this moment. But just seeing that kind of progress, just seeing the culture too. That was the biggest thing I saw in Paris, even going back to last year, was just how tight how communicative everyone is with each other. And when you have leaders like Nicholas Guy Turbide, Abby Tripp, and so many other successful swimmers, it just really creates that success. It creates that culture where we are now, where we have a new generation who's really laying down the gauntlet and putting down amazing times, setting records and winning medals.
Nathan, you're a big fan of cliches. So they were swimming in deep, I guess, if you want to go that direction. And the success speaks for itself. I mean, 12 medals at these games was pretty incredible. One more question before we get to the interview with Danielle is how important are these worlds? I know there's still going to be one more in 2027 before we hit the games in LA in 2028. But can you speak to how important this is for furthering that development, especially for more of these younger athletes? Like Mary Gibb just burst onto the scene. Danielle Dorris is still young. She's 23 years old, but she's been around for the last decade at least, right? So, but can you speak to like the growth and just how important the worlds are for leading into other major competitions in LA 2028?
It's massive. It's major, as swimming's a sport, as you said, that 2 years apart between the world championships. Anytime that you can have that early success early in the cycle, early in the lead up to a games, it's major. There's still a lot of areas you need to improve, you need to grow, but just really building in that first one is huge. That's where you get that influx of swimmers. That's where you get those new athletes coming in, really honing their craft, really coming back to the seasons leading up to the games with that skills, and that world championships leading into the games. That's the dry run. That's the dress rehearsal, because in the years there isn't a world championships, you have zonals or regional competitions. And those are very important, but nothing compares to a world championship on the line. Nothing compares to those kinds of international races where everyone is racing against each other, fighting for qualification spots. And that's the thing with a lot of parasports. And I don't know how familiar the systems are between sports, but with swimming, it's often down to if you can place in the top 8 at a world championships, that's a qualification spot. And the only time that's really under that kind of qualification period is at that world championships in the year leading up to the games. So it becomes extra crucial, extra important in that world championships before the games.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, the success speaks for itself. It was just an incredible moment for Team Canada, like a 28 personal bests. Like, you know, when you can bring your best to a competition like that, that's really what you work for, no? I mean, like we were talking off air just before we came on, and we talked about just those little milestones, right? Like, you know, when you're training, if you get in for yourself, if you go for a 30K ride, 50K ride, whatever it may be, just those little milestones, those are sort of the building blocks, the foundation of what you can bring to the table. And then once you get to those major competitions, that's when you hope that all of that training pays off. And it looks like it did for Canada. 28 personal bests amongst those athletes. It's got to feel pretty good.
It really does. And it's those small milestones, as you mentioned, in the lead up and the time, because we can get so lost. And even that's a conversation that we have with Danielle. Yeah, the conversation we have with Danielle in moments. It's having fun. It's enjoying the process. But let's dive right into that conversation with Danielle Dorris. Enjoy the conversation. Danielle, thank you for joining us.
It's lovely being here.
We're less than a week removed from the 2025 World Championships in Singapore. First off, how's the jet lag? And secondly, have you had a chance to reflect on your successful World Championships?
Jet lag, I think, is definitely doing me in a little bit. I tried to stay up for like all the flights coming home because I don't sleep on flights anyway. So I was like, why not just stay up a full 24 hours? Let's see what happens. But it's been rough. I've been going to bed stupid early compared to what I'm normally doing, and then waking up also stupid early, but it's fine. It's whatever. I have a whole day to do whatever I want. And then, but no, I've definitely had some time to think about everything that went on at Worlds, and I'm very excited to tell you everything about it.
I can't wait to hear it. You set a championship record in the 50-meter butterflyer, and as two butterflyers here, what was your mindset going into that race, and can you walk us through what happened to set that record?
Yeah, so for the 50 fly, I always just go into it having fun, and it's like whatever happens, happens. The goal is to always try to get a best time, which coincides with just going a world record, since my best time is the world record time. But this year, I didn't do that, but I did go to championship record, which is fantastic because it shows that I've improved since the last time I set the championship record in 2023. So I'm just gradually improving the championship record every time I swim it at Worlds. But the race itself was a lot of fun. The entire time I swam it, I could see Mallory Wegeman from the United States right next to me. She gave me a really good run for my money this time, and I think it's going to be... it was a lot of fun, and being able to have a race where I was actually able to see the people I was racing was real fun, and it was probably the most fun I've had doing a 50 fly in a very long time.
It's short and sweet, but when you're able to see your competitors, it just raises you to that extra level when you're not technically supposed to be looking, but everyone's peeking, everyone's viewing what other people are doing in their lane. But for yourself, you're also the defending champion in the 100-meter backstroke. You ended up winning silver there. But can you talk about your versatility in all the strokes, but also getting to that level where you're able to podium in multiple different events and multiple different strokes?
Yeah, so for the 100 backstroke, I think for me, 50 fly is like my favorite, and it's like my baby. But the 100 backstroke really does have a special place in my heart, because I think if I could do it all the time, I think backstroke would definitely be my favorite swim, just because I get to breathe the entire time I'm swimming it. But there's other reasons. But the backstroke is very much an event that I really love, and being able to do it here at Worlds, and unfortunately not defending my title but still getting a silver medal, is very special. And I was just very happy that I got to do it, because we didn't have it last year. So having it here at Worlds is just a fun time, and all the girls were just very excited to do it this year, and we're trying to convince like everybody to be like, put it in LA, but like unfortunately the events are already closed for that. So we're gonna all like soak up the 100 backstroke as much as we can, and it's an event that I hope to keep medaling in if I can. It's definitely alongside the 50 fly in terms of like it being my baby.
You've had quite a decorated career so far with many future success to come, but how have you handled the expectations of Paralympic medals, World Championship medals, and trying to get back on that podium or even win gold time after time?
For me, I try not to think about all of those outside people putting the pressure on, like, oh, we expect you to medal. For me, I look inward and what I expect for myself. I'm always the type of person that's like, whatever happens, happens. If I get a medal, I get a medal. If I get a world record, I get a world record. To me, it's very much the results of what comes out of the swim don't matter as much as the actual swim itself. Like, if I had a good swim, then I'm going to be happy. Like, if it was a terrible swim, then it might be a little different. But, like, if I had a terrible swim and I still medaled, then there's still something good about it. But I always tend to look inward and what I prefer and what I put onto myself, and versus what everybody else is expecting out of me.
That's the biggest way to look at it, just internally, but also, as you said earlier, with like the 50 fly, is have fun, enjoy it, and really take in those experiences. And throughout your career, you've had Ryan Allen as your coach. What has that relationship been like, and what does he mean to you as a swimmer?
I think I'm at a point with my relationship with Ryan that we trust each other completely, and having that type of relationship with your coach is very special. Like, not a lot of people can say that they had a coach who started coaching you when you were 12 years old, to being with that same coach at now 23, and he helped me get to who I am today. It's pretty special, and I'm eternally grateful for everything he's done for me, and I'm very proud of him as well in terms of what he's doing now, being the new national head coach for the para program, which is very exciting for him. I think everything just came together for the two of us to exceed in both me being in my athlete role and him being in his coaching role. He means a lot to me, and I think we just have a really special bond in terms of a coaching athlete relationship, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's so special and amazing. And even leading up to the Singapore World Championships, we got to see on social media. I kind of got a little jealous of how nice that training camp looked in Thailand. What was that experience like in Phuket? And was that one of the best training venues you've had?
Oh, easily 100%. That has been my favorite camp I've ever been on. Just being able to our accommodations of like where we were staying, like a 2-minute walk to the pool, and you're at the pool, and like everyone like could hang out with each other, and like we had like a team room, we had a different room for our meals, and like if we really wanted to, we could like leave the compound and like go to a coffee shop down the street, which a couple of us did, but like everything that you needed was within the camp itself. So like on the resort, there was everything you would need. Like there was a coffee shop, there was a little store. You didn't have to go anywhere. It was fantastic. And the weather luckily was pretty nice, with a couple of rainstorms during practices, but it's fine. It's whatever. We're already wet. But no, I think it genuinely was probably the best camp we've ever had.
That's amazing to hear. And one of the hidden best parts about swimming, especially outdoors, is when it does rain. At least to me, that's like one of the best feelings, was when it is pouring down, when you are already wet in the water, you have a little bit of rain. It's just a beautiful feeling and experience. But that team and the success that the team has had, and we've been on the team, and there's been through different ebbs and flows throughout the time. But what does it mean to you to see a squad that won about 12 medals, 15 national records, and had 28 personal bests? Like, what does that say for the progress of the Canadian national swimming team?
I think we are at a point where the team is just so cohesive and so healthy with each other that I have never seen this before, where we're all like so supportive of each other. Like we were at the pool every day cheering each other on. If you were done swimming, you were at the pool cheering people on. And I think we're at a point where everybody is just there for everybody, and like to be able to perform as well as we did with each other for our country is just fantastic. And I think we have a really good group of athletes moving into the next quarter, leading up into LA. I think it's going to be a really exciting time for everybody. You
mentioned LA there, and we're still a few years away from LA, and it's easy to get caught looking ahead, but kind of like, as you said, what does this championship mean for that confidence, for that belief going to LA? And sort of for our viewers and for our listeners, what does qualification look like as a team for LA? I think to like kind of answer this question, but to kind of not, because I think it's more of like I think what this world shows us is how strong our team is going to be leading into LA, and hopefully we can bring the same energy we had here, if not better, going into LA. Because you always see the year after a games is usually a down year, and you don't see this much of like good performances that we had. And I think going into the next few years, we're just going to get better, and then LA, I think, is going to be something really special. I mean, I hope, but I think that's kind of where I think the team is headed. That's really amazing and really exciting. And sort of throughout your career, you've been able to travel a lot, and especially like where you were in Phuket just looked and sounded amazing. But out of all the places you've been to, do you have a favorite food destination that you visited? I think I'm a little biased towards the Tokyo Village, just because I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that it was COVID and we weren't allowed to go anywhere. But in that village, they gave us fantastic food. I think I had ramen and sushi for breakfast every single day that we were there. So I would say if I ever had the chance to go back to Tokyo, I would say Tokyo for sure. And then honestly, the food in Phuket that we were eating at the resort was also really good. So we had some pad thai there, which was fantastic. So really, I think any Asian food, you have me hooked. So. Oh, there's so many great food spots and amazing. That's the one thing I heard about, like in the village in Tokyo, was like how solid the food was and how good it was in there. But kind of staying in the realm of travel, like Nicholas Bennett, for example, and it's been talked about on the paraswimming side, is more open water competitions. If you were to choose, whether it's in a pool or open water, one location that you would love to swim in or love to have a race of some sort in, where would it be?
I'm gonna say indoor pool because I refuse to swim in a lake, or in any open body of water. It kind of scares me. But I think if I were to pick a place that I haven't been yet to compete, selfishly, I would say South Korea because I'm a big fan of just everything that they do in terms of like their music, their food. So if I had a chance to go there with swimming and then I could just do a little mini trip afterwards, that would be my number one pick.
It sounds like a lot of competitions are going there right now. We just had the World Archery Championships there as well as paraclimbing. And hopefully at some point swimming can go there as well as I'm hoping, I'm itching for the day that cycling can go to Korea. But overall, we're really appreciative of your time, Danielle. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course, it was fantastic speaking with you. I think just getting to do this interview with you is very special because I first met you when I was 13 and I remember sitting with you on the plane to Rio, and it's always a good time with you.
Yeah, just to keep it running for a second, that was a really cool experience, just being able to go down to the games with you and not know yet, but just kind of see the little inklings of what a successful career you were going to have. So it's absolutely amazing to catch up and talk, and congratulations once again on your success in Singapore.
Hey, you as well. You had a fantastic year last year, so thank you very much. It was lovely speaking with you again.
And that was our conversation with Danielle Dorris. Now, as we talked about at the end, Danielle and I have known each other for over a decade, and even leading into the Rio 2016 Paralympics, she was my seatmate on the flight going down to Rio de Janeiro. And just what she's been able to do in her career, the accolades, the medals, but also just the love of the sport that she's been able to carry and she's been able to display. But Jeff, I have to know, would having a training camp in Thailand be like a dream location for you?
You know what? I've never really given Thailand a whole lot of thought in terms of a travel destination, although I think that may have changed because part of my job is following these athletes at every moment, and a lot of that comes from Instagram. I could not tell you how many photos I saw of the beautiful resort. And like Danielle mentioned, they had a store, they have restaurants, they literally had everything that you wanted there. And just the scenery was immaculate. The training facilities look top notch. Literally every single person, every swimmer on that national team looked like they were having such a good time. And maybe that's another reason why they were so successful, is they were just so loose. I mean, they were already over, probably roughly in the same time zone, getting acclimated, just having a good time, feeling really relaxed. I saw a lot of banter between a lot of the national team members. They just looked really loose. But yes, I think that Thailand might be on my bucket list, especially as a training camp, especially for swimming. And for you and Danielle, sounds like if you're swimming in the rain, that's a good thing. And I will say, I kind of do agree with her. I do swim in lakes, but it is a little bit weird. Just not knowing what's underneath you. I'm definitely more of a pool person myself, Nathan.
I'm a big ocean swimmer. I live minutes from a couple beaches, and especially growing up, I was right by the beach. So I know the water, but there is a weirdness to it, and there's nothing worse than just eating a wave of salt water. There's nothing more disgusting than that. But oh man, I am so jealous that they got to have a training camp over there. Like when I was in Phuket, I stayed in a very different part of town, and we do not need to go into those stories on air, but it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful location, and there's just so many incredible spots where you can have those races, where you can have those conversations. But to that Danielle interview, was there any big takeaways from you for that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, just the ability that she's able to answer those questions without cliches is always a bonus with an athlete. She gave very, very good answers. And she's proud of her work. You know, she's a world record holder for a reason. She's been at the top level for, I guess, 3 games now and multiple world championships for a reason. It was just, you know, incredible to sit and watch that interview with her. And one more thing, Nathan, before we move on here, is just the interaction between the different countries as well. I find that, a lot of competitions, everybody's a competitor. You always want to come first. But it looked like, especially with parasports more than able-bodied sports, is that you're proud to be there and you support one another regardless of the nation that you have on your chest or on your jersey or on your Speedo. So just seeing that online as well is pretty incredible. So just the, I guess, the uplifting from parasports. I know we're starting to get into that motivational side of things, which can be a little iffy, but it is truly nice to see that there's competitive side, but there's also that humanity side to it as well. So it's kind of cool to see that.
It really is. And that's one great thing about parasport is like when the race is on, when you're on that battlefield, it's all out war to say the least, but there's that level of respect. There's that level of care that comes after the races and just the conversations, just the connections. And even on that Olympic side too, we think it's just locked in and focused, but there's a lot of camaraderie. There's a giant team at the end of the day. But for our next segment, sounds like I have to put on a world champion level performance for Guess That Parasport.
Yes, Nathan, I've been waiting for a long time. Alex Smythe sent me these, and yes, this is another edition of Guess That Parasport.
Guess That Parasport.
So there's 4 here. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get to all of them, Nathan. Again, these are credited to Alex. He sent me these before he went to Love Island. I'm sure his fiance is extremely pleased with him heading down to Love Island. Oh, I kid. The first one here, Nathan, this sport requires precision.
I want to say,
any guesses?
I want to say archery right off the bat, but I know it's not going to be that easy of an answer. So I'm going to say wheelchair basketball.
No. Oh, this is going to be good. It is a summer sport, so you're kind of along the same avenue. It's a summer sport. Any guesses?
Okay, I was expecting a second hint, but okay, we can dive in the deep end here. So it requires position. Is it a team sport or is it an individual sport?
This isn't, you're asking for too much here. I'll give you the last hint that Alex has. It's a shooting sport. You were on to something earlier.
Is it shooting?
It's para archery.
Oh,
you should have trusted your gut.
It was too close to home. I know we just had Kyle Tremblay on a few weeks back.
I know.
And it would have been a little too obvious. So that's why I went wrong, but that's a sneaky good pull by Alex there.
It is sneaky. All right, we only have time for one more here, Nathan, and we can save the rest for a rainy day. This next sport uses a race format. Okay, we can dive into many different directions here. I originally think cycling, but I don't think he's going to be too close to home for 2 answers back to back. So I want to go a little bit off the deep end. A sport we haven't really been able to cover on the program yet, but we hope to at some point, and that is para rowing. Ooh, that's a good guess. It's not para rowing, although I would love to get a para rower on. Their world championships were just a couple weeks ago, so hopefully we can get a para rower on. Nathan, the next clue is it's a summer sport.
Oh wow, that really makes it a lot easier. That narrows it down from like 15 to 13. Holy cow. Let's go with a sport that's done on a track. I'm going to say athletics. Track athletics.
Wrong again. The last clue, this might be a dead giveaway. Prepared to get wet. This sport uses a race format. It's a summer sport and prepared to get wet.
There's one very obvious answer that probably all the listeners are yelling for me to say, but I know Alex would be a little sneaky with this. So right now I'm debating between para canoe and para swimming. But since we just had Danielle Dorris on, and I know Alex did not plan for this to break down this way, I'm going to do swimming as my answer.
It is swimming. How fitting is that? I think he created this list before we confirmed Danielle, so that was a little sneaky, but 1 for 2, Nathan. Not bad at all.
He knows the future, so outside of being on Love Island, he has a pretty good career as a fortune teller as well. But unfortunately, our fortune tells us that this episode is coming to an end. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You can watch PSN on YouTube, as well as follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Parasport Nation. Like and subscribe to the channel to follow us now.